Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat? So the Saints have had a couple of injuries, and as a result, they're bringing some veteran players in for tryouts on Monday and Tuesday. And I would love both of these additions if they can get it across the finish line. We'll take them one by one, and then I'll get to the player that the Saints did add this weekend, who's, of course, got a local tie. Let's start with Anthony Barr. So I have said often that linebacker for the Saints isn't a want or a need. It is a must. Especially this offseason, when you lost Caden Ellis, and you've got Demario Davis and Pete Werner back, you feel good about both those guys when they're on the field. Now, Demario Davis has a calf strain, and Pete Werner in 2 seasons has yet to play a full season. But provided they're both out there, you feel good. But your best linebacker behind them, your most veteran, was Andrew Dowell. He's on IR, done for the year. Now you're talking about DeMarco Jackson, last year's draft pick who didn't play. You don't even have bodies, let alone experienced veteran like Sunday bodies. You have got to supplement there. So last week I talked about I would love to see the Saints add Zach Cunningham. Zach Cunningham, former Vanderbilt Commodore who was drafted by the Texans, led the NFL in tackles in 2019. Great player. But whether it was Cunningham or someone else, the Saints were going to need to add somebody. And the person they're bringing in now is Anthony Barr. You probably know who Anthony Barr is. Okay, Barr was the former 9th overall pick of the draft coming out of UCLA by Minnesota. As a rookie, he started 12 times and then went to IR, had an injury. After his rookie season in 2014, he made 4 consecutive Pro Bowls in 15, 16, 17, 18. In 2017, we Saints fans unfortunately remember the playoff game in Minnesota. He intercepted Drew Brees in that playoff game in Minnesota. 2019, he was going to sign with the Jets as a free agent, had a change of heart, and stayed in Minnesota. And then the injury started. He missed 14 games in 2020 due to injury, tore his pectoral muscle. In 2021, he had a knee and a hamstring injury. And then he left Minnesota. And last year in 2022, played for the Cowboys. Here was Mike McCarthy a year ago when Dallas made the decision to sign Anthony Barr.
Exciting player, always a challenge competing against him. Gives you another weapon, and another excellent player both on and off the ball. So I think when you get in and out of packages as you build your system for a 17-game season, I know the defensive staff is really excited to have another piece.
So that was a year ago. And Barr actually had a productive season in Dallas last year. Now, he was not a full-time starter in Dallas, but he played in 14 regular season games. He had 58 tackles in the regular season and 9 tackles last year in the playoffs for Dallas. So he played well last year in a backup role for the Cowboys, which is really what you would need him to do for the Saints this year. If you can replicate that, that's great. He's never been a huge stat stuffer in his career. Like Barr has never had a 100-tackle season during his NFL career. The most sacks that Anthony Barr he's got 17 and a half sacks total for his entire career. The most he's had in a season was 3.5 his second year. So it's not a guy that's going to pressure the quarterback a bunch, but it's a veteran guy that can play inside and out, has been around the league. He's played in 112 games, and at 31 years old, still showed last year with Dallas, he's got some tread on the tire. If you can do this affordably, great. You can ask, well, why isn't he signed with anybody? I don't know. Sometimes maybe he's waiting for the best opportunity to join a team at this point in his career where he knows he can go and win. Maybe he's looking to just not go through training camp. I mean, Brett Favre did that every year at the end of his career. He wavered about retirement So he didn't have to go to camp, and he showed up game week. Okay, what is Mike Detilier's line? Practice is for the unskilled. Veteran Anthony Barr's played 112 career games. He don't need training camp. Is he healthy and able to give you depth week 1 against Tennessee? If he is, I'm for it. And maybe he's looking for a best offer. We'll see financially what it would be, but ultimately the New Orleans Saints have, like, this isn't even a question. Like, in my opinion, this wasn't even debatable before Andrew Dowell's injury. But Andrew Dowell shouldn't be the push to make you go sign a linebacker. You know what I mean? Like, Andrew Dowell has been a career special teamer and backup. You got to have somebody else there. And we'll see if they can reach an agreement with Anthony Barr. I love that they're bringing in Kareem Hunt as well. You probably saw this weekend that Eno Benjamin suffered a torn Achilles. Yes, Eno Benjamin was still on the Saints roster. And so now you know Kamara's going to be gone the first 3 weeks due to suspension. Eno Benjamin, done for the year. He's on IR with the Achilles injury. So that leaves you Jamal Williams, who you're high on, and the rookie Kendre Miller. After that, the only other running backs that you have on the roster are Ellis Merriweather and Kirk Merritt, converted receiver to running back. I don't even do you know who Ellis Merriweather is? I don't know.
No, I've never heard of that guy.
Please look him up. I genuinely don't even know who he is. So here's Kareem Hunt, who's 28 years old, came into the league the same year as Alvin Kamara in 2017, and as a rookie in Kansas City, led the NFL in rushing. Now, I get it. At 30, you're in the NFL, you're old. You're old. It's funny that we're talking about these guys like they're ancient, like how quickly guys get old in the NFL. Anthony Barr's 31, Kareem Hunt's 28. But Kareem Hunt's at a point in his career where, of course, we know what happened. He was in Kansas City he was massively productive after 2 years. They shipped him to Cleveland. He's been in Cleveland the last 4. He's kind of flip-flopped injury-prone seasons and productive seasons. He played 8 games in 2019, played all 16 in 2020. He played 8 games in 2021, played all 17 last year. So last year he played 17 games in Cleveland, but was in a backup role to Nick Chubb. Perfect. I'm not asking Kareem Hunt to come to New Orleans and carry the ball 250 times. I'm asking Kareem Hunt to come to New Orleans and be the number 3 back. To be the guy that spells Jamal Williams and Kendre Miller for those 3 weeks while Alvin Kamara's on the shelf. Like, I'm just saying, come in and be a dude that can be a productive option, giving me depth instead of having to rely on Dwayne Washington or Eno Benjamin, who obviously is out this year with the injury, or David Johnson, who they signed last year, or Tony Jones. Do you realize last year, do you know how many running backs had a carry for the New Orleans Saints last year? Muse, do you know? Just I didn't prep you on this, but I'm not talking about a receiver. I'm not talking about a quarterback. I'm not talking about Taysom Hill. I'm talking about I'm not talking about Prentice, the fullback. I'm talking about running backs. How many running backs had a regular season carry for the Saints last year?
6.
8. 8 running backs had a carry for the New Orleans Saints in the regular season last year. That goes to show you how fluid it is, how much turnover there is, how much of an injury problem the Saints have had there the past couple of years. Obviously, you brought in Latavius Murray, and then the Broncos signed him off the practice squad. Mark Ingram, his career's over now as well. He's doing TV. But you had Tony Jones, you had Eno Benjamin, you had David Johnson, you had Kamara. Like, you cycled through a bunch of them a year ago. You get Kareem Hunt on a friendly deal to provide depth and another explosive pair of legs in that running back room, I'm for it. So, again, the Saints are bringing in Barr and Kareem Hunt for workouts. We'll see if they can come to terms with either of them. The player they did come to terms with is Trey Kirkland. Nick Underhill over at NewOrleans.football posted this video of Trey Kirkland's meeting with reporters in New Orleans after his first practice with the Saints on Monday.
I had an off-the-field situation. I got a DUI. They released me. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? I moved past it. I learned from it. He kind of put it in me to be able to come talk about this today. Because they told me I had to interview today, but that kind of showed me like I need to lock in. I had got to the point where they had just signed me to the practice squad. I was getting loose, you know what I'm saying? And now I'm more focused by me being off the whole year. It's been a rocky roller coaster for a year and a half. I got released from Arizona, then I went throughout a whole year. Then XFL, I went on the rise up, and then week 5 I tore my pec, so it went back down. 2 weeks later after that, my pops got killed, and then shoot, it work out, and then I'm home. So it's just a blessing from God, and I feel good to be home.
He's been through a lot. You heard him say it there. I don't know if you could hear it. I know the audio was a little low, but you could hear him say his father was killed. He was kind of really playing well in the XFL, tore his pec. I mean, he's been through a lot. But a kid from Lutcher who went to LSU, who did everything LSU asked. He played corner, he played receiver, he played special teams. We all know he played quarterback in the bowl game against Kansas State, which is that's what John Trey, when it all comes down to what he will be most known for from his time at LSU, was playing quarterback in that wretched bowl game against Kansas State. But team guy, willing to do anything. So, we have seen the Saints put a premium on elite special teams players. JT Gray has been an all-pro in New Orleans as a special teamer. Dwayne Washington has made this team as a special teamer. I mean, think about the defensive backs. I mentioned JT Gray, but guys like Chris Banjo, who were defensive backs who made this team. Courtney Roby, who was a receiver, but made the team as a special teamer. So with Andrew Dowell out for the year, there's an opportunity as a special teamer for John Kirkland. He ain't going to make this team as a receiver. They're too deep and too talented there. But could he be that 6th receiver that is on every special teams unit? He could. What we know about John Trey is he is a freak athlete, man. He's got a 42-inch vertical. He is fast as lightning. He can return kicks and punts for you. He can cover kicks and punts for you. And that may be his path to making the team in New Orleans. But congrats to John Trey Kirkland on signing with the Saints. Let's see if we can go earn a roster spot now throughout camp in the preseason. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.